All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session, during which we'll provide you with an update on claims service provider choice for employers. My name is David Huxley from iCare's mobile engagement team, and I'm coming to you from the far north coast of New South Wales. I'm on Bundjalung country. I'd like to pay my respects to the elders and people and ancestors of this country where I am based. But I also want to pay my respects to the traditional custodians on the various lands on which we all work today, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this session. Now, before we start, just a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone's camera and microphone should be disabled, and the chat box is going to be turned off through the session just to minimize any interruptions. As we have over 1,000 registrations for this for the session here today, and we like to keep these sessions on point and short and sharp. I'll just add, though, that this session is being recorded and will be made available on our webpage in due course, probably in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. But also, everyone is going to receive an email after the webinar, probably tomorrow, but also an EDM, or a bit of an email newsletter towards the end of April, with a link to the webinar, as well as other pieces of information that we're going to be discussing today. Now, today we're providing an update on claims management options for employers in the New South Wales Workers' Compensation Scheme, as iCare is offering more employers a choice of claims service providers from June 30 this year. Those eligible employers will be able to choose a provider that best serves the needs of their business. And joining me today to discuss this information is Melissa Balderston, who is the Head of Provider Enablement and today's subject matter expert. Mel, how are you this morning?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks, David. I'm looking forward to sharing details about this change with everyone on the call.
Fantastic. Did you get up to anything exciting before work, or just got up and went to work?
I went for a lovely beach walk, actually. Very fortunate to live in the eastern suburbs. So it was a beautiful morning out there, a bit stormy, but very nice.
Well, I just had, I did pretty much the same thing. I had a quick swim for a coffee and yeah, getting stuck into the day. Well, look, as mentioned, today we're sharing an update with regards to a choice of claim service provider for more New South Wales employers. So Mel, why are we providing this additional choice for employers in New South Wales?
It's part of iCare's goal to deliver a consistently high standard of service to those we serve in the New South Wales Workers' Compensation Scheme. We're making choice of claim service provider available to more employers from June this year. We're doing this because we appreciate that employers are an important asset for any business, and larger employers tell us that they want more control over which claims management partner they work with to help manage any workers' compensation claims that arise from within their workforce. To support this, iCare is offering choice of claims service provider to approximately 4,500 more employers this year, so they can choose a provider that best suits the needs of their business and their injured people.
Okay, great. Well, 4,500, that's a pretty good number. So yeah, lots of employers who would be eligible. So now we understand the why. Can you please tell us which employers are now eligible to change claims service providers, and just who those claims service providers are? And while you do that, I'll bring up the next slide, Mel, for everyone.
Fantastic, thank you. So from 30 June this year, employers with an average performance premium or group average performance premium of $100,000 and over will be able to choose a claims service provider when they renew their annual workers' compensation policy. An employer can refer to their policy documentation to find out if they're eligible when renewing their policy. This is the first time in a number of years that these additional 4,500 employers have had a choice of claims service provider partner. So it's really exciting to be making this available to these employers this year. As you mentioned, and as you can see on the screen, iCare has selected 6 experienced claims management partners for employers to choose from, including some with specialist capability for managing psychological injury claims. These 6 partners on screen are Allianz, DXC Technology, EML, Gallagher Bassett, GIO, and QBE. I'd encourage employers to discuss the service offering of each claims service provider with any one or more of these 6 claims management organisations.
All right, now I'll just define something you mentioned a minute ago, the average performance premium. So just for people on the call that don't know, the average performance premium is simply the wages you pay your staff multiplied by the industry rate that you're charged as per the industry that you operate in. So, all right, Mel, now we know who those 6 claims service providers are, as shown on the screen. And I'm guessing not everyone on the call knows exactly what each can offer. So, Mel, to help employers make a choice, what sort of things should they be considering?
I think we really recognise that the decision-making process for each employer might look a little different depending on the needs and factors important to that particular business. To support with the decision-making process, though, iCare has made claims service provider performance data available on iCare's website, which covers a range of metrics, including working rates and return to work rate data, legislative compliance data, case manager caseloads, and customer sentiment data for both injured workers and employers. There is further detail and context within that page that helps explain how to read the data and use the page. And it's important to consider that some claims service providers have a slightly different portfolio than others, which they'll be able to help explain further in conversations. There are, of course, also other factors outside of the data that an employer may wish to consider in decision making. Each claims service provider will be able to help answer any questions, and the contact details of their representatives that are best able to assist are on the screen here now. We'll be sending these details to everyone who joins today's call, so there's no need to jot them down, and they were also in a communication that iCare issued in February this year.
All right, so yeah, we will be sharing all this information. And look, lots of things to consider when making that choice, Mel, from an employer's perspective. So, all right, let's say an employer wants to change to a new claim service provider, but they have open claims with a current provider ongoing. What happens to those open claims if they do decide to change provider?
We acknowledge that as an employer, it's preferable to have all claims managed by one claims service provider. We've been on a bit of a journey the last few years to develop and refine the process of consolidating an employer's claims with their new provider following the employer's decision to switch in order to help solidify that new relationship. In 2025, for employer choice, iCare will further reduce the time an employer is waiting for their claims to be consolidated. So employers can expect to have all existing claims transferred to their newly selected claim service provider within 2 to 4 months after their policy renewal date and their decision to switch.
Oh, great, that's good. 2 to 4 months, that's pretty quick. Considering what's required. So that's fantastic news. So, all right, you talked about open claims. Would this be the same process for an old claim? Just say it reopened for whatever reason.
Yeah, great question. iCare consolidates both open and closed claims managed on iCare's claims management system at the employer's new claim service provider. So any claims that are closed at the time of transfer, including existing claims, as you mentioned, if they need to be reopened at a later date, they are reopened with the employer's new claim service provider, which I think is a real advantage.
Yeah, you'd want all those claims in the one spot, you would think. So, okay, fantastic. All right, so just as a bit of a recap, we know which employers are eligible to choose a new claims service provider, and we know who the different claims service providers are and how to contact them, but also how to find out more information about each of them. But what is the process employers need to follow to make these the change of provider?
Yeah, again, we've been on a little bit of a journey to improve this process. Last year, iCare made the choice of claim service provider form available to employers online through the customer self-service option on iCare's website. As an employer, you'll need to log in to make the change, and this does need to be done within a certain window of time, which is shown on screen here. And this starts after receiving the policy renewal invitation, which is issued approximately 45 days prior to policy renewal dates. And a selection does need to be made 14 days before policy renewal date. So there's roughly about a 1 month window of time where iCare needs to be informed of the employer's decision. There is a tile available once the employer has logged in online that says change my claim service provider, and it is all fairly self-explanatory from there. New claims from the employer's renewal date will then be routed to the new claim service provider, and it's worth noting that this tile will not be available at other times throughout the year, except in the window of time that I mentioned on screen. So don't be concerned if you don't see it in the online portal at the moment. After submitting the request to change claim service provider, employers will receive a confirmation message about the change, and that will apply from the renewal date. We have included more information on the steps to follow within the policy renewal invitation, and there is also a step-by-step guide in the handbook about employer choice of claim service provider, which is available on iCare's website. The employer's underwriter at iCare will also be able to help if employers get stuck.
Okay, so lots of people that can help and support employers if needed. So look, thanks, Mel. I just want to add also, I think what you just referenced, we're going to be sending a link to this CS Claim Service Provider Choice webpage in an email in the next few days, but we're also going to include a copy of these slides that we're presenting here today. So everyone's going to get this information emailed to them. So, Mel, we did have over, as I mentioned, 1,000 registrations for the webinar, and due to this huge volume of interest and attendees, we decided not to take questions during the webinar itself, as we just probably couldn't get through them all. And we want to keep these information sessions short, sharp, and on point, under 15 minutes, and we're getting close to that now. But Mel, we did receive some questions through the registration process, and we covered off on most of those questions that were raised through the webinar already. But I thought I might just ask you a couple more that have popped up. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, the first one here is a good one. If an employer doesn't opt to change anything, will their claims still stay with the same claim service provider, or what happens to those claims? They do nothing.
Yeah, that's right. So if an employer wishes to remain at their current claim service provider, there's no action they need to take and nothing they need to do. The policy will continue to be with their existing claim service provider, any existing and new claims the same.
Okay, perfect. So nothing to do, easy as. Well, next question, and this is a really good question actually. Can an employer choose two claim service providers? For example, one that specializes in psychological claims and injuries, and another for physical injury and claims?
No, a single choice of claim service provider needs to be made for all claims, including physical and psychological injury claims, and that selection applies for all claims, as I said, and for the full policy period.
Okay. Actually, speaking of policy, I've got a question here about premiums and policy, and this is with regards to tariff rates for each industry. Will the rate differ between the various claim service providers, or are these set across New South Wales? Actually, I'll answer this one, Mel, if you like. I've got a bit of background in the policy space there. There's no change. The answer is simply there's no change to the tariff rate or the WIC rate, as they're known, as all policies are and continue to be managed, in-house by iCare's underwriting team. So look, one final one, Mel. What if employers want more information about claim service provider choice? What can they do and where can they go?
There is plenty of information available, as you said earlier, David. So there's further information available on iCare's website, which includes access to the claim service provider performance data that we mentioned earlier. Employers can also read the employer choice of claim service provider handbook and read the frequently asked online, which is all available on iCare's website and linked here on screen. There are a few other options too. The employer's underwriter representative at iCare will also be able to help answer any questions, and employers can chat with one of the team via live chat now on our website or call 13 44 22. So there are lots of options for more help and support if it's needed.
It's a good number to remember, 13 44 22. Well, that brings us to the end of the session. And before we go, we'll just remind attendees that we'll receive an email in the coming days, probably tomorrow, and it will include a copy of these slides as well as those links that you can see on the screen. Look, there's also a link there to our mobile engagement team webpage for those that are interested in attending other upcoming sessions that we're hosting. And we do have a number of face-to-face and virtual sessions coming up in the next few months, sort of leading up to that 30 June period, including the one on the screen at Parramatta. You can use those QR codes on the screen for more information about the upcoming events and, of course, the Claims Service Provider Choice page. And that brings us to the end of the session. So a big thank you to Mel for joining us today. Thanks, everyone, for attending as well and joining us on a Tuesday morning. I hope you can join us at another event soon, whether that be face-to-face or virtual. So hope everyone has a great day. And thanks, Mel. I'll chat to you soon.
Thanks, David. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.